Hey everyone, I'm Tim.
And I'm Damien. We are in the band OK Go. Back there, of course, Andy and Dan, and our friend Anne-Marie Thomas.
Anne-Marie is an engineering professor, and she's invited us here to hang out and talk with her about how we made our video for This Too Shall Pass.
And while we're here, we figured, why don't we teach you some about the concepts that are in the video, and maybe you can use them to build some things yourself.
Yeah, so I guess we should get started.
Thank you guys for coming.
Thanks for having us.
So how did you come up with the idea to do a chain reaction machine as a video?
Andy sent me a clip of one you saw online, right?
Yeah, this print shop had set up a chain reaction machine, and it was really long, and there was just something so satisfying about watching this really long chain reaction play out just in sort of like a everyday space, like a shop.
Were the rest of you all game to do that right away too?
When Andy sent me that clip, I think we all had the same reaction to it, which was just that somehow these simple things is just so compelling to keep watching them. Like, you can watch it over and over again, and when you find that thing where emotion just jumps out of the normal, that for us is kind of like, we know it's time to chase it.
So when you had the idea, was it the four of you that built the machine?
No, we didn't build the whole machine ourselves. I mean, we're nerdy, but we're not good enough. We're not that nerdy. Yeah. We didn't really know where to start. So I wrote in job posting. I looked for one or two engineers. There was a message board in Los Angeles, and the people who ran that board, it was a group called Mindshare. They wrote, 12 of them got together and wrote us a proposal. So we got together with the 12 of them, and we basically just tried to figure out what makes a chain reaction machine like this. Like, why are they fun? What are the rules?
And this is a group of musicians and engineers. Were you all on the same page?
I mean, in the beginning, it seemed to me that there was no page to be on, except like everybody understands that there's something compelling here. So everybody in the room is kind of have different specialties. There's musicians and there's artists and there's tinkerers and there's engineers, but it's a bunch of people who are all just sort of curious and excited. And we had to figure out what was the thing that made this all kind of go together. Like, Dan, you had a particular feeling about like what they should feel like.
Yeah, some of these machines, when I watch them on YouTube, I get a sense of like tension or like a edgier seat quality, and I find that really fun about these, and I end up looking for more to watch to see if I catch that feeling.
So were you trying to put suspense into this one or a storyline?
We needed this to run with the music. I mean, it's a music video, and in fact, with all of our music videos, sort of the hardest thing to do is to take a single idea and figure out how we can choreograph an arc into it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like one of the first unifying things between us and all the scientists we work with was the challenge of like, can we make this machine dance to the music? You know, can we make it synchronized?
Yeah, well, like when you get to the chorus and the big woo, like, well, how is the machine gonna feel different? And so we had to go through and sort of qualitatively think about, well, how does the machine feel here and how does the machine feel there? And to a lot of engineers, that wasn't their first concern. They're used to making things work. So there were a lot of people who were sort of like, yeah, but how do we make it consistent? And our input was often sort of like, well, let's worry less about consistent and more about feeling. So let's design, instead of designing for effectiveness, let's design for aesthetics. What's that feeling that it gives you? So in the beginning, the machines are all sort of delicate and kind of leading up to something. When we get to that first big chorus, that's when the big colored flags all fly, you know? We wanted that to really fill up the screen with color, and there's a bridge section that goes to the second half of the song. We go down an elevator shaft, and we're watching just liquids for a little while, and it sort of builds the tension a little bit. And in those early design meetings, what we were sort of trying to do is figure out what were the big sort of buckets of tricks we could do.
It was important to us that there be no magic in this video, you know, and that everything that you see on screen is something that you could probably get in your garage or in your attic or somewhere. You know, we wanted to hopefully give the feeling that like anyone with enough drive and ambition could do this.
How long did it take?
The entire video process was about 6 months, but that was from the moment we posted like the job listing online to the day we were done, finished with it. So, and a lot of that was finding a space we could work in and finding the right people to work with and getting all the supplies and, so even getting up the lights and all the film crew stuff takes a long time. So I think the machine itself is about 2 months.
And by the time you finished building it, did it work every time?
Yes.
Every time?
No. No section of that machine worked every time. And it wasn't supposed to. I mean, we wanted it to feel precarious. We shot it 89 times, was it? And we only got to the end of it 3 times. And even that was a very good hit ratio. We were surprised we got to the end of it as many times as we did.
The machine was designed so that if it was going to fail, it would probably fail in the first minute and a half or so. So like the more precarious machines were at the top. They were sort of the smaller machines. But once we got downstairs, it was like bigger stuff that probably wasn't going to fail if we got to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. The dominoes at the very beginning of it were the thing that failed the most often. So little interactions, they seem really delicate, but also a tiny change in how you place something has a huge effect on what's going to happen. As it turns out, when you drop a piano from the ceiling, it lands in the same spot every time. So as the reactions got bigger, even though sometimes they get much more impressive, they're actually much more predictable as well. So the bottom floor of which after we leave the kabuki screens, we're on the bottom floor of the warehouse, and that whole bottom floor, I think we ran the whole thing maybe 7 or 10 times, and it worked 3 of those. Whereas the top floor, I mean, we got 3 out of 100 basically.
I think it's worth it to say, if the machine failed, like anywhere towards like a minute in, it was probably like 30 to 45 minutes of reset time.
Yeah.
We couldn't just go back and shoot right away.
Yeah, there was sort of 3 or 4 reset levels. The dominoes were a 5-minute reset. Anything past the dominoes was like 15 to 20 minutes. The whole top floor was 45 minutes. The top and bottom floor together were 2 hours. So we got pretty good at stopping the machine. If something went wrong, like make sure it doesn't keep going,
Did you ever question whether it was going to work?
The whole time.
Yeah.
The whole time. We were really not sure until the end that we were going to get it. It was terrifying.
Yeah, I would say we were pretty sure we weren't going to get it. There definitely was a dark period where you didn't think it was going to work, but we had to power through that and keep trying.
As the events of the machine would be a success down the line, we would have to move from the one spot we were set up for camera view and get to the next spot, and then go down a set of stairs. And I remember my heart pounding, like, oh my gosh, are we gonna get to the next spot? And then sure enough, here comes this crew and this motion and this emotion flies by, and you're like, oh my gosh, are we gonna get to the end? Are we gonna get to the end? And by the end, it's like a huge cathartic moment when you get blasted in the face with paint.
When you see all those people on the above us at the end screaming for joy, like every bit of that is real relief.
I really wanted to get to the end of it, but then I didn't want to get to the end of it because getting shot by that paint really hurt my face. So I remember, I would get like really excited, like what Dan was saying, like I'd get super psyched, and I'd be like, all right, right, I'm about to get blasted in the face.
So how many times did you get blasted in the face?
For the real takes, we got blasted 3 times, but we had to do a lot of test blasts.
Yeah,
Right.
we did a lot of test blasts, and on one of the test blasts, I got hit so hard that we had to bring in the on-set medic, and I got hit with red paint, so we couldn't tell if I was bleeding.
Yeah.
It was the paint.
Our favorite chain reaction machines usually have a point. They're doing something. It's not just like stuff. It makes your coffee, or it puts it sets off the toaster. There's always sort of a cute reason for them. And we were trying to figure out what would ours do. I mean, we knew it was a music video, but we didn't want it to do the traditional thing of a music video, which was like promote the band. So we decided that our machine should attack the band. And so we were trying to come up with different ways we could get more or less safely attacked. Like I wanted to get thrown across the room. We wound up throwing me on a zip line, and you got attacked by the ping pong balls. It of course wound up with us getting shot in the face with paint at the end, and that also gave us the opportunity to make the whole thing into a mystery. That you see us in the beginning covered with paint. And why are they covered with paint? And hopefully at the end, you realize, oh, they've been doing this all day long, and you get some sense of how many times you have to try this over and over and over again to get it to just work.
For the record, I would have been cool with toast coming out of the toaster.
It was grueling work.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard work, but there's thousands of failures for every one success you have, and you only need that one success. I mean, everybody who worked on that machine only remembers the one time we got it, that the joy of that, and that's what really makes it all worthwhile, and it really is all worthwhile in the end.